As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Ritu Mehta from Tanla Platforms. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Hello everyone, I'm Ritu Mehta and I lead Investor Relations for Tanla Platforms. On behalf of everyone at Tanla, I would like you to welcome to our earnings call for Q4. Joining with us today are Uday Reddy, our Founder, Chairman and CEO, Deepak Goyal, Executive Director and Chief Business Officer, and Arvind Vishwanathan, our CFO. Uday Reddy, our Founder, Chairman and CEO, will share his perspectives on business imperatives and strategic progress made by Tanla. After his opening remarks, we'll be happy to engage with the participants and address their questions. Before I hand it over to Uday, let me draw your attention to the fact that today's discussion may feature statements that are forward-looking in nature. All statements other than statements of historical fact could be deemed forward-looking in nature. Such statements are inherently subject to risks and uncertainties, some of which cannot be predicted or quantified. A detailed disclosure in this regard is mentioned in the results presentation that is uploaded on our website. Now over to Uday.
Thank you, Ritu. Good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to our Q4 earnings call. As you know, Tanla is single-mindedly focused on the enterprise, and we are the market leaders in CPaaS, and that is really making the difference in our last year results. Our strategy is working very well. FY22 has been a phenomenal year on all metrics, and we achieved 3,000 crore revenue milestone. We had very strong revenue growth with the best-in-class margin and cash flow profile. Revenue grew 37% year-on-year, gross margin grew 57% year-on-year, and we generated over 425 crores of free cash flow, and our cash balance is over 920 crores. Our organic growth mission is in full flight. Our revenue and EBITDA has grown by 6x and 12x in the last 6 years. Uniqueness of Tanla is that while we grow like a startup, we have the balance sheet and cash flows of a market leader. As I look forward, digitalization is the opportunity of this generation. We are seeing an explosion of the digital interactions in India. Transacting users have doubled in the last 3 years to over 200 million users, while digital clock has increased 3x in the same time. We are operating at the rule of 60, which is aspirational for most of the SaaS companies. We are pretty confident the momentum will continue. Let me give you an update on Wisely. The last 3 months have been significant for Wisely. Last Friday was a historic day as the Wisely went live with the Vodafone Idea network as part of our multi-year exclusive partnership. We will showcase power of Wisely to both VIL network and global tech giants in the next 60 days. Wisely will deliver tangible ROI, and I cannot wait to showcase this to the world. I am very excited about our exclusive partnership with Truecaller, which we announced in the Mobile World Congress, Barcelona. I am confident that we will be able to build unique propositions to our enterprises while enhancing user experience to 300 million monthly active users. Wisely resonates well with enterprises. One of the large customers that we spoke to has put it very nicely. I quote, "One of the reasons we really like Wisely is that you're not selling platform or software, but delivering business outcomes." We have a strong balance sheet. This gives us optionality for acquisitions. We are growing fast at high profitability. So any acquisition has a very high bar for Tanla, and most acquisitions would dilute either our top line or bottom line. Further, we have a very strong organic strategy. We are focused on wisely, a single platform strategy, and we don't want any distractions. Having said that, we are always open to any second acquisitions which complement our wisely strategy. Also, we have been consistently returning our cash to our shareholders. We returned 180 crores in FY21 and 95 crores in FY22, which adds up to 31% payout of our net profits. In the coming year, our biggest focus is driving our very strong innovation engine, focused on creating greenfield opportunity for us. The biggest bet we are making to achieve this on our talent. We are introducing new ways of working and building a team obsessed about innovation and customer success. Our employees are excited with the opportunity to work on cutting-edge technology and build their career with us. I am very excited, my team is very excited, and I am confident that FY23 will be the year of Wisely. I am happy to take, and we are happy to take your questions now. Go to Ritu, or you want to open the session? Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. We request participants to limit their questions to 2 per participant. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Pranav Kshatriya from Edelweiss Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. My first question is regarding the growth for the platform business. For last year or so, the growth for this has been fairly strong. And also, so how should we see this growth going forward? Because you said that this will be the growth will be driven by Wisely. And one more finer nuance which we want to understand is the realization-led growth, because a fair bit of growth is happening on the realization side, which I'm not too sure that how much will continue. So if you can throw some color on that. Yeah, that's my first question.
So, Pranav, if you can just clarify on your second question, what do you mean by realization? Are you saying pricing?
Yes, I mean enterprise segment realization. If I look at last 1 year has seen a fair bit of growth, maybe because you are having more traffic coming from Wisely. So are we going to see more volume-led growth, or it will be continue in this direction?
No, Pranav, that is a good question. And our enterprise business is going much faster than industry. We are going. As you know, Karix is the largest the CPaaS services company in India, and Karix is going much faster than any other either industry or any other similar partner in India. That's number one. Number two, even if you look at our platforms business, okay, and as part of my opening statement, I made it very clear we're going to invest a lot of money on our platforms, rather innovations. And one can expect platform announcements, new platform, new features announcements in the next 11 months. So to answer your question, we are going to grow on both the fronts, both enterprise side as well as platform side. But as you know, platforms is, the way we book the revenues, the way we collect the revenues, the way we charge the revenues to our enterprise is slightly different from the way we charge in terms of our CPaaS services. So in other words, our margins are much better off on the platforms business. And yes, we are going to grow on both the fronts, and we are pretty excited.
Okay. One more question, if I may. Your capex has sort of increased, almost 63 odd crore rupees for the full year. Is it largely towards the investment, and how should we see this going forward? And does implementing wisely require you to put capex upfront?
So Pranay, for the company of our size, okay, which is generating more than 430, 440 the clear cash every year, so the capex is very small in the sense we are investing a lot of money on the innovation, and in the sense even if you add up the numbers, I don't think it's crossing around 65 crores per annum. It's a very small number, and but yes, this year also we're going to spend equal amount, if not more. And to answer your question, we don't need to really invest upfront in terms of any of the platform deployments, but definitely we're going to spend a bit of money on the innovations, and which is going to accelerate our platforms the growth.
Okay, thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Harshit Toshniwal from Premji Invest. Please go ahead.
Hi there. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Thanks for the good results. But two questions. One is that when you look at the overall growth, I think when we look at the 1 CR client count, that's growing at around 16-17% even on an exit basis. So that is a pretty strong number. Now, just want to understand that how do you envisage the growth in the enterprise business here on, because I think 16% is the base, and what else can we add from the ticket size growth? So is 20-25% a fair estimate given the industry is going at 20? And I have the second question also, Samit, together itself. But when we look at our cash balance, around 30-40% of that is in DBS Singapore, which is a dollar account. And there's a note mentioned that we don't earn interest on that. Can you give some explanation what is the need to keep such high cash in DBS Singapore, and why are we earning any interest on that balance itself? Thank you.
Harshit, sorry, I've been trying to hold you, but you're not clear. Your voice is not clear. Very, very feeble.
Okay.
There's a lot of background noise. Can you please go slow? Can you please ask one by question?
Yes.
Harshit,
Yes.
I would request
Is it audible now?
Yes, we can hear you, Harshit, but I would like to know, are you connected to the earphones?
Okay, now I'm on direct phone. Is it okay
yes,
now?
This is better. Yes, you can proceed.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I'll just repeat the two questions. First is on the growth, that there is a 16% of 1 CR plus client count growth, even on an exit basis, which is fairly strong. And clearly, as we move forward, the volumes and the organic ticket size of each client will also keep on increasing. So expecting a 20-25% growth in the medium term, I mean, is that a very tall task? So want to get a sense about the overall industry growth in your estimates. And the second question is on our cash balances, that around 30-40% of our 900 crore cash, that is with the DBS Singapore account, where we don't earn any interest, which is why our overall other income yield looks suppressed. Want to get a clarity on why do we need to keep that, and why is it not earning any interest for us? Thank you.
Maybe, Harshit, let me take the second question first, and then I will pass on to Deepak to give you a perspective on the industry growth rate. Right? So, a lot of our ILD business is done overseas and it's in dollars. So, given that it is dollar balances, we don't earn interest on that. Right? There are challenges around moving cash across entities. There are taxation implications, etc. So, we are looking at it, and we are seeing what we can do. And obviously, as we plan our global expansion, the idea is that we will be using our cash overseas to fuel that. Right? So that is where we are. So there's not much of an investment opportunity there with respect to your dollar funds. Deepak, if you can give a perspective on the growth.
Yeah, on the hi, Deepak here. Yeah, so on the industry growth, so we estimate the industry to grow by 18 to 20% in overall volumes, and out of and if we further bifurcate that, so about 12 to 14% I would say is organic from the existing use cases, from the existing customers and all that, and I'm talking about overall industry, And then there is another, about 6 to 8% is, as you know, a lot of new companies are emerging and they are growing much, much faster than those established enterprises. And there are new use cases are emerging with existing customers as well as with the new customers. So I would, put about 6 to 8% there. So overall, is about 18 to 20% growth is what we are witnessing.
Got it. See, just one follow-up on this. Now, when we look at our new client addition, so and I'm coming with the context that Karix is a very strong player when it comes to all the traditional large enterprises, and clearly that is the moat on that side. But our new client growth, basically, when I look at all the new, where the volume growth is actually exponential. Over there, even when we look at our presentation, I think the new client growth is still not as great as the traditional one. Now, what gives us confidence that if industry is going at 18-20%, we'll be able to deliver a better growth than even the industry, because we are already sitting on a very high pedestal. And secondly, in the new client segment, it's not as if we are doing extraordinarily different from our traditional set itself.
So if you see, we are, for last so many years, we have been growing more than the industry. Okay, so that we have been, we have demonstrated in the past so many years. And as far as the new customer segment is concerned, so I just tell you the life cycle. So there is a year, we acquire customers. Okay, and we may acquire at a different stages of the year, right, or different months of the year. Right, and then they come, we onboard them, and the business ramp up, and then the next year they become our existing customers. So when they are fully ramped up, so that revenue is actually counted in our existing customer base. So maybe that's why you may not see a huge growth as such in the new customer segment.
Okay. So you're saying that most of the
At that point, our calendar starts afresh for new customers, right? So if you look at customer cohorts, and we have a slide on that, you would find that our CAGRs across multiple years after we onboard the customer, we see a lot of growth. So to look at it just from year to year, you will not see a significant jump. But like Deepak said, you will have to look at, we add them, it's for the current year, and then, next year we again start afresh. So the way to look at it is we added 270 customers, which gave us 100 crores of revenue for FY22, but they are obviously the base for further growth for FY23.
So like whatever we acquire this year, okay, the real growth or the volumes would be seen, I would say, the next year. So it's like that. And whatever we acquired last year, you would see in this year. So it's like this.
Understood. And just one follow-up on the previous one which I asked, that Singapore account. Pardon me for my ignorance, it's a very basic question that just want to understand that flow of the transaction. Say, for example, we have an ILD client, and simultaneously that message is delivered in India. Now, the receivable from that client, that goes into the Singapore account. But say, for example, what we receive from an Uber or Amazon, that will go to the Singapore account. But what we pay to Bharti Airtel for termination, that goes from the INR balance. Is it why that balance is so high? I just want to understand that even though ILD business has slowed in this last 6-7 months, our reserve balance or cash balance in the Singapore account, that has grown, that has kept on increasing. So just want to clarify that.
Actually, Uday here. Okay. For any ILD business, okay, right? Entity is not allowed to enter into any agreement with any tech giant, because it's the ILD business, and the entity has to be outside India. In other words, none of the Indian entities, including Tanla, Karix, or Gamooga, are not entitled or not allowed, rather, to enter into any tech giant for ILD business. That's number one. Number two, the same entity also have an agreement with the ILD license providers. For example, that Tanla Singapore has got the direct agreement with Airtel. They have entered into agreement with VIL, and whoever has got the ILD license. ILD is a separate business. Even from the telco's perspective, okay, Bharti Airtel must have got 2 licenses. One license to operate within India, another license to operate outside India. Okay, so 2 different entities. So similarly, we have to operate with the entity who has got the license. to operate an identity business. So both, to answer your question, both buying and selling happens at Singapore level.
Okay. Understood. Got it. And so basically, this is what is going to be our kitty for any investments in growing the international business. That is how we are going to monetize that cash balances over there.
Yes.
Okay. And got it. I think I'll come back into the queue for any further questions. But thanks a lot and congratulations for good set of numbers. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Sachin. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Balaji Subramanian from IIFL Capital. Please go ahead.
Balaji.
Hi. Thanks for taking the questions and congrats on a good set of numbers. I have 3 questions basically, if I may. The first question is on your plans for Wisely deployment both in India and overseas this year. Some more color on that, considering that now you have announced partnerships with both Vodafone Idea and Truecaller. The second question would be on the status on rolling out consent management around Trubloq by telcos, and I know at what stage is it in currently, and what can be the potential opportunity for Tanla from this. And the third one would be on employee attrition and any wage cost pressures that we are seeing, considering the supply side pressures, especially for tech companies. So those will be my 3 questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Balaji. Uday here. In terms of Wisely plan both for India and global is, yes, we are giving. We are putting a lot of thrust on domestic business, and you will see a lot of enterprises will be using Wisely going forward. And once we see that success in India, and probably we will look at the global market. Till the time, we would like to concentrate in India. We want to really make it big. Wisely and domestic has to really make it big before you take this platform to the global market. That's number 1. Number 2, in terms of consent management on Trubloq, and we have deployed, we have rolled out. As you know, it's a consortium between all the telcos where we manage 60-70% of the telcos, and we also have to work with other platform providers. It could be Tech Mahindra or it could be IBM. So, and also regulators are involved. So we have delivered the product, but we see a bit of challenges with standard operating practices here, which telcos have to sort out among themselves. As a platform provider, we have nothing to add anything here. But having said that, I think we will see some light on this consent management. It is going back and forth between the operators and the regulator. We hope it will be sorted out very soon. That's number 2. Number 3, in terms of employee attrition, as you know, the Karix has been around for the last 20 years, and so is Tanla. And our core team is pretty intact. The core team who has been with us for almost for 2 decades, that's pretty intact. But having said that, we see a bit of challenge with the junior folks. We also have the similar challenges. We're trying to address that, but we don't see any problem with our core team. The problem is it's only someone who has joined during the COVID, and there we have there is no relationship with them. That's where we see a bit of challenge, but we're trying to address that issue. But I completely agree with you. We're also saying issues that any technology company faces nowadays.
Okay, so that answers my questions. So thanks a lot and all the best.
Thanks, Balaji.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Chandra from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is on the Wisely platform. So, just a continuation of the last thing from the last question. So on Wisely, we have big plans. So Wisely will enable the phase of growth for the platform business next year. So if you can elaborate more on our plans internally, what we have in terms of the revenue contribution from Wisely, maybe in the next financial year, and also you can elaborate on the partnership with Microsoft in terms of the co-sell partnership with Microsoft. Is it that Microsoft is going to sell the platform for us, or any like collaboration in terms of sales along with Microsoft. So that is one. Also the exclusive partnership that we have with like Vodafone. So from when is it going to contribute to revenues? And in terms of the partnership we have with Truecaller, so what exactly is the like nature of the partnership? If you can elaborate on that.
Okay. Amit, Uday here. Let me start with the Truecaller. Okay, Truecaller, as you know, what our information says, and this is public information. They have around 300 million unique users, and most of them are from India. And so this, we have access to this 300 million unique users. So they were never in business messaging earlier. For example, if you look at WhatsApp, this is predominantly business messaging app or P2P messaging app like. But whereas Truecaller was never into business messaging. Okay. Since now they have access to 300 million users, they're also trying to see how they can monetize their the reach. One of the ways where they can monetize is through business messaging. That's where Tanla and Truecaller came together. We have decided to enable messaging feature on their 300 million handsets, the apps rather, and that's number one. That's what we have been doing for the last 6 to 8 months. And now that business messaging APIs are exclusively available only to us. It is not available to any other CPaaS provider, not only in India but in the world. So this is a big opportunity for us, so that is about a Truecaller. In terms of Microsoft arrangement, yes, Microsoft and Tanla has developed this Wisely platform, and wherever we have the large opportunities, we come together and we kind of we work together, and that's where Microsoft and Tanla has one with VL, and also we are working with a couple of other large deals. It's working really well. So we are extremely happy about Microsoft relationship with Microsoft. That's the number two. So in terms of the Wisely contribution to overall our numbers, it's too early to comment, but I'm pretty excited when it comes to Wisely VL deal. We went live. That's what we announced to the market on last Friday, and our revenues stroke margins are going to clock from last Friday. That means effectively 2 months in this quarter. And so that 100% traffic has to go through our Wisely platform. So we are pretty excited about that opportunity. And in the next 2 months, what we decided is to showcase the Wisely offer to not only to Vodafone Idea Network, but also to the large telco, large tech giants globally. And the next 60 days, we are planning to come out with customer advocacy that is going to set the agenda for Wisely for the rest of the period.
Okay. And sir, in terms of the competition, obviously we have seen increase in the competition, especially in the platform business. So what kind of risk we are seeing to the margins that we are enjoying? So because the margins that we operate, so I'm not talking about the 90% margin, but adjusted for all the overheads, maybe it's 70% margin that is there for the product business. So are you seeing any risk to that, whether you need like more investments or something of that sort to like focus more on the volume growth rather than focusing on the margin?
Amit, this is my personal view, and my view is one cannot build a platform unless until you have tremendous domain knowledge. Okay, we cannot buy platforms business from third parties, and it's very risky of running. I have seen it personally, and it's not easy to build the platforms unless until you have tremendous domain knowledge, and also and one should have access to tremendous technology skill set. If you don't have both of them, it's difficult to build and run. So we don't see, I don't know what you may be in the competition. We have not seen any competition, and we are not scared of any competition. We have been built, the entire Tanla has built on platform for the last 22 years. We have seen enough competition the last 22 years, and we are, in fact, we love competition so that we're not in the comfort zone. Okay. So we're happy to face the competition, but as we speak, we don't see any competition, and we have been in the space for quite some time.
Okay. And sir, on the enterprise business, apart from the seasonality, this quarter, like, are we seeing any other headwinds, maybe in terms of scaling down of some clients or something of that sort, or is it like normal business for us?
Deepak, do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So, see, there is some always, with few customers, some volumes keep moving from, one place to another place. But there's nothing as such as everything. I mean, if you look at Q4, it's pretty normal. In Q3, we have, seen some good profitable festive campaigns coming in, which was, because of Diwali and Christmas and the New Year's and stuff like that. And which were not there in Q4, and that's about it. And plus, we had to, if you see number of days, our business is on you can count as per the days. So there were 2 days less in Q4 as well compared to Q3.
Okay. And sir, on the enterprise side, if you can provide some color on what portion of the business, we are getting from, the startup ecosystem, right? Because I know that we have been working closely with some of the startups or newer companies, internet companies. So, with the valuation going down, or with the global valuations also coming down. So, are we seeing some kind of cut in spending on, especially on this, especially on the marketing side, as SMS marketing campaigns and all those sides from the startups?
See, I tell you, we have so we have a very strong, program to acquire startups, in India, and it's been a very successful program. And if you see that, we have been acquiring, these customers from all the verticals, and one of them is fintech, which is very big for us, and it has a huge potential. But then there's another one is gaming, which has come up very well. I mean, you can see a lot of gaming companies coming up. You must have seen ads during IPL. Then there is EdTech sector, which has boomed in COVID times, and now more and more companies adding up into EdTech sector as well. And if you ask me if there's a cut on marketing spend, the answer is no, because that's where they actually acquire the customers. They all want to acquire more and more customers. Okay, so maybe they would cut anywhere else, but they would not cut here because that's where they see the acquisitions coming in. And now, if you see the trends have changed. Earlier, I was telling you about a few years back, the people would spend a little bit on the digital campaigns, and the rest would be done on the traditional media. But now, very serious, budgets are allocated for the digital campaigns. Because here, as Uday mentioned earlier, we provide business outcomes as well. It's not just about sending one-way communication. In fact, we take responsibility. We work with the customer and ensure that, they achieve the KPIs, for which, and the ROI for which they're spending the money. So that way it's a win-win for us as well as for our customers. And once they acquire the customers, they become, then we ensure that, we retain their customers very well. We provide customer delight and all that with our various campaigns. So that's how it works.
Okay. And sir, one last question from my side.
Sorry to interrupt. I would request you to please come back in the queue.
Okay. I will come back in the queue.
Thank you.
But let me answer Amit's last question slightly different, in the sense like he was referring to our global competitors and the industry. Amit, it's a good question in the sense like we have been pretty clear from the day one. We are different from our peers in the global market. Our competitors in the global market and elsewhere, they are diluting. They are raising the money left, right, center. They have been acquiring the companies. And that is their strategy. But our strategy is very simple. We believe in build but not buy, and our strategy is working So I strongly believe that where people fail to integrate with the companies. That's where they see the challenge in the global market. But we don't have the same problem with us. So our strategy is working. So that's what I would like to say.
Thank you. A reminder to participants connected to the webcast, if you wish to ask questions, please dial into the number and enter *1. The next question is from the line of Tanu Poddar from Mount Infra Finance Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible? I just want to confirm that.
Yes,
Yes.
you are.
Yeah. Thank you for taking my question. My question here is regarding the 800 billion transactions which is stated in the presentation. So till 1920, it was always said 200 billion transactions, and after that it has become 800 interactions. So I just wanted to understand the difference between transactions and interactions, and why has there not been any growth in the last 2 years in the 800 billion transactions?
Tanu, it's a good question. The difference between the interaction and transaction is, for example, HDFC send any communication on SMS, okay, and so then they terminate onto your mobile phone, and they charge per SMS, right, and or per email or voice or notification line. That's called transaction line. Whereas interaction it is mainly two-way. For example, like where normally telecom resources are not involved, it is over the internet. So that is called interactions. Like, let me give one example in terms of interactions. Like, for example, Gamuga is heavily, which is our 100% subsidiary, is involved in the marketing automation, where they enable the interaction between the enterprise and the customer. Okay, it's going back and forth, wherein they may not use the telecom resources like SMS, voice, or email, or anything else like. So suppose if you inquire anything about with enterprise through bot, okay, and then the company responds to you over the bot, that's called interaction like. So there is a lot of difference between interaction and transactions like. So interactions go to the roof, and we don't normally charge per interaction. We charge per the unique user per month, and whereas transaction is used per transaction. Transactions are paid per transaction. That's the difference between these two. And interactions are increasing day by day, and so is the transactions like. And in fact, we have given the transactions volume in terms of both GLC and SMS in presentation, but we have not updated the interactions looks like.
Okay, so actually your unit revenue, that is what the question I was coming to, comes to around rupees 0.004 if I take the entire revenue and divide it by the number of interactions, which is quite less. So if you could provide some clarity regarding your unit economics.
Yeah, so interactions is more from a perspective of saying the kind of scale that we handle. It's not directly linked to financials, because like somebody like a marketing automation would have significant amount of interactions, but the revenue will not be comparable because they actually get paid based on active users or some other metric which is not there. So just looking at interactions versus revenue is not a logical way of looking at value per interaction. So it is very different depending on business. So if you take an SMS, transaction is interaction, but when you look at some of the other aspects, you have a very different psyche.
Okay. So just one last question. So what kind of revenue do you get from your A2P messages, like per SMS? What would be your charge?
No, so we've not called out pricing because it's again different depending on whether it is, international long distance, national long distance. What we have done is we have broken down our revenues between platforms and enterprise. And, that is the kind of breakup that we look at, and that's how we look at our business.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That would be all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepak Poddar from Sapphire Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. So I just wanted to understand first on the platform mix, like in next 2 to 3 years, how do you see platform contribution to the gross profit? I think currently it is at about 23%, right? So do you see that going about 30-35% in next 2-3 years?
So today it's about 26%. So clearly you've heard Uday talk about Wisely, which is a big bet. Our strategy going forward is around our single platform strategy. So Deepak, definitely we expect that the platform contribution will keep going up and we should see that improvement every year. In terms of exact quantification as to where that will be, I'm not in a position to give a number, but it is fair to assume that it will accelerate every year.
Understood. Fair enough. So ideally that means that your EBITDA margin also should improve quite significantly, right? As your platform contribution expected to go up. So maybe from currently 23%, you expect it to go up substantially in next 2-3 years, right?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I think in our last earnings call we had talked about it that typically a SaaS company operates at gross margins upwards of 60-70%, right? So one of our aspirations is as we leverage our platforms, we will see a structural shift in our gross margins. While I cannot comment exactly what time frame where we will reach, but directionally, you're absolutely right. The intent is to move towards platforms and that will structurally mean that, our gross margins profile will improve. So you're right in that.
Understood. And sir, in your opening remark, you did mention that you expect this rule of 60, that confident that this momentum you expect to continue, right? So if I have to just think about the breakup, maybe a top line growth 35-40% range and a EBITDA margin 20-25% range. So that would be a fair breakup between top line and margin when we talk about rule of 60%?
Deepak, that's a difficult question to answer, right? There's always a trade-off as you go into more platform business,
right.
Your revenue is equal to your gross margin or a substantial portion of your revenue is equal to your gross margin. So it is difficult to kind of give a mix at any point of time, right? But directionally over a medium term, you're right that our gross margins and EBITDA will move up and that will contribute. But what is the exact contribution, I really will not be in a position to give a breakup at this point.
I got the direction. And my final query is on when we talk about this 60%, it's mainly organic or do you factor in a potential acquisition or inorganic portion as well when we talk about the 60% rule?
See, if you really look at it, I think Uday has mentioned this multiple times, we are very, very confident on our organic strategy.
Okay.
Right? We have a tremendous capability and track record to build platforms at scale, right? So we always back ourselves on build vis-a-vis buy, right? While there can always be, small tuck-in acquisitions that we may evaluate from time to time, largely our focus is to drive our business organically.
I understood. That's about it from my side. All the very best, sir.
Thanks, Lee.
The next question is from the line of Dipesh Mehta from Emkay Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Couple of questions. First about, just want to get sense about how the competition you are looking from telecom operator, Airtel as Airtel IQ. So how you expect such competition to have implication on overall industry dynamics or medium term? Second question is about the VI deal, Vodafone Idea deal. What would be our current market share and how it is likely to change once the 100% traffic move from our platform? Third question is about the divergent trend which we are seeing in this quarter between platform and enterprise business. I am referring sequential number. Typically we have seen both business move in tandem. This quarter there is a divergent trend. So if you can help us understand what is different. Last question is about weak cash generation. If I look Q3, Q4 both, OCF to EBITDA conversion remain weak. So if you can help us understand how one should look at it. Thanks.
Okay. So what is the first question? So the first question was in terms of telcos operating. Yeah. So in terms of, see the way it works is, without picking up any names here, the way Tanla and the Karix have been working with the industry is sometimes we collaborate and sometimes we compete with them like.
So that's how the even the telco industry works, in the sense like, all the telcos have to talk to each other through interconnects. That's how they have to cooperate themselves. They have to collaborate themselves. Sometimes, and most of the time they compete. Okay, this is how it works in the telecom industry, and we have been working for quite some time like that, and nothing is new, and so that's number one. What is number two?
The divergence between platform revenues and enterprise.
So, as I told you earlier, both Karix and Tanla have been growing steadfast in the last couple of years. The momentum will continue both in enterprises and platform business. And but it all depends on, for example, whenever we grow on platforms, that's going to straightaway add to our bottom line. And so that's the basic difference between enterprises and platform business. But both are going much faster than the industry.
And only other point I will make, Dipesh, that it's not always been the case. So if you really look at it, Q1 of this year also, where there was a little bit of drop, right? You would have seen that platform business did grow while enterprise dropped, right? So there are instances in the past also, because I think it also depends on compositions, where our platforms are and the volumes there, right? I'll come to your cash flow question, and I think you had a fourth question, so we'll come to that after that, right? So from a cash flow perspective, if you look at from a year perspective, we still at 90% of PAT as OCF, right? So there we obviously had a little bit of skew in terms of much stronger cash flow generation in H1, and our working capital, while it's still negative, is less negative compared to H1. I think we've seen a lot more growth on the domestic side of the business that we've talked about, and that tends to have little, higher DSOs than some of the other businesses. So there is a little bit of shift. But I think from a year perspective, if you look at, we've done well, and I think that is what we would be targeting every year, Dipesh. And your fourth question is
on the VI deal.
So on the VI deal, I think Uday kind of talked about it. We will start getting our revenue in terms of, because we've gone live on 29th, right? So we're not kind of calling out what is our share vis-a-vis what will be incremental there, but maybe we would cover it in more detail, in the coming quarter.
So just couple of follow-up in terms of OCF to EBITDA. So now you are indicating 70 is a reasonable number to sustain over medium term. That's how one should look OCF to EBITDA conversion.
Full year perspective, we are at about 90%. Sorry, Dipesh?
Yeah, so let's say from full year, I am referring OCF to EBITDA. It is roughly around 70, 69 to be precise. So roughly 70% is what we converted EBITDA to OCF. This is the good indicative number for medium term.
Yes.
Understand. Second follow-up is about the telecom operator related competition. I think in terms of their focus on this enterprise business seems to have increased materially compared to, let's say, 2 years back kind of thing. So my sense is intensity, at least from their perspective, seems to have increased. You don't think anything in marketplace, or you think it is same? Because at least from interaction perspective, they are more vocal about their enterprise business.
So Dipesh, which I've already mentioned, if you look at our business, we are not just depending on telcos. Okay? For example, Truecaller has nothing to do with the telco. WhatsApp has nothing to do with the telco. Email has nothing to do with the telco. Push notification has nothing to do with the telcos. Okay? So they have very, very limited say in SMS, and also through interconnects, nobody has got any control on the channel. We are allowed to connect to any of the telcos in India. 6 or 7 telcos are offering SMS business, and I cannot really talk about their strategy, but I see it's very negligible. So I don't really waste my time discussing what that issue.
Okay. Last question. Can you share number of transaction processed by Trubloq in this quarter?
So we already mentioned in the presentation. Can you please refer to that?
So we will share it separately. Deepesh, yes.
Yeah, it is not there only for a month you have given. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Mishra, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Congratulations on very good financial year. I have two questions. So the first one is about the Mr. Uday had this morning came on CNBC and gave a good talk. But he discussed about 5-6 platforms to be released in the next 11 months. So my question is, I'm assuming that there are like features on Wisely, additional features on Wisely, because we are following one platform strategy. So can you give some ideas, like in what sort of areas would these be, like voice, video, or can you please elaborate on that, if possible?
So Amit, it's a good question. Like all I said in today's conversation is, like we are launching the products which are going to work on the Wisely platform. Wisely is a platform, whereas all the platforms, be it Truecaller, be it WhatsApp, be it SMS or email, any other platform or any other product that you think of are going to ride on the single platform. That's the reason we always call it as platform of platforms. Okay, we don't want to call it sometimes. These are all usually using the words. But as you rightly said, we have a single platform strategy. And either we develop some other products, or we allow the other platform or products to ride on our platform. Okay. So to answer your question, yes, we are working on a couple of large products, which I cannot really talk about it. And we are also launching some of the additional features on existing platforms. So I'll let you.
It's just a quick follow up on this voice. And voice can be processed already on Wisely, right? And video as well. You have capability to process. Like I'm talking about more from markets outside India. I think they have much wider. They are much wide use these features compared to India, I think.
Yeah, Amit, as of today, none of the video platform or products have been integrated with Wisely. In future, 100% yes. So that video is going to pick up a lot, and I don't know the timelines, but definitely that will be one of the channels that we're going to will love to work with.
And second question is about the tender business, which is with global clients, and they are frequently tendering the business. How we are faring there, and if competitors are lowering their bids, what is our strategy basically to counter that, to not lose the business?
Deepak, will take that?
Yeah, sure. So we are doing fairly okay. In fact, if you see, we are present in most of the top tech 10 giants, right? And these are guys who keep on doing, I think you're referring to them only, and they keep on doing tenders every 2 years or every year and all that. Okay, but we are very much there. And as far as, this pricing is part and parcel of the business, right? I mean, if the prices go down, then, we also further negotiate with the telcos and all that. So it is, you can see in our margins which are very much stable. So, that reflects that everything is fine.
I mean, like, that makes me wonder, like, if we are losing some business because we want to also maintain the margin, and rightly so. I'm not questioning that part of the strategy. So are we like losing a business because of margins in some places? Or?
See, I won't call it losing a business. I would see this is you look at your business and you want to retain your profitable business which is doing well, and you want to focus on more and more profitable business going forward basis, right? Sometimes you let go certain business, certain volumes to your competition. So yeah, that is all part and parcel of your overall strategy, right? Yeah.
Understand.
As Uday said, we are committed to the rule of 60, and that's what matters to us.
Perfect. No, that's very good. That answers this question. And this the last one. On the Truecaller partnership, what would be the revenue model? Because it's like business messaging service for Truecaller, and it would be per transaction we would be charging something, or we are going to give them, monthly basis, some charge they will pay us, because Wisely is powering that part of their new business. And is there any, opportunities you see to, which can benefit Tanla by accessing Truecaller's ecosystem, clients and 300 million strong users there? So can you elaborate more?
So Amit, if you see, we charge our customers on per transaction basis, okay, and we have a revenue share model with Truecaller. We are partners there, right? And as far as the benefit is concerned, it's like this: we have 300 million user base, okay, which is a very, very niche kind of segment, right? We have, obviously they have smartphones, and they are the ones who actually care about spam and everything, right? So you can understand we're talking about very, very premium user base of Truecaller, and it's 300 million, which is equivalent to any you can say the large telcos in India, right? So we have that kind of base with us, and we see that this Truecaller business messaging fits right between somewhere in between SMS and WhatsApp, somewhere in the middle, right? Which is there is a big gap there, and it sits right there, and it's going to and we are going to solve a lot of business problems of our enterprise customers with Truecaller coming in, right? So you would see in the next few weeks and months then when we roll out more and more use cases on Truecaller, and which is actually going to benefit our enterprise customers.
Yeah, because I was asking this because this is exclusive partnership, unlike WhatsApp. WhatsApp is being served by other competitors as well. So this is exclusive partnership. So I see like great potential here. Of course, you must be seeing much bigger picture. But when can we expect something tangible from this partnership added to the top line? Just some timeline, if you can.
We are, we are going commercially live very soon, so you would see, the impact in the subsequent quarters.
Okay, in Q2, can we expect in Q2?
Well, Arvind, you would like to say something here?
No. So I think as Deepak said, we are going live. It is real, So you will start seeing it incrementally every quarter going forward. It's a big bet for us, so it will reflect in Q2 also. So absolutely.
Okay. Thanks everyone, and good luck for this year.
Thanks.
Thank you. Due to time constraint, this was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Ritu Mehta for closing comments.
Thank you, everyone. That was the last question for today. In case we couldn't take your questions due to time constraint, please feel to reach out to Investor Relations team. Have a good day.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Tanla Platforms Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.